one of the services that we offer is change management. And if you are a client of ours or a follower of ours, you will know that we are deeply involved in mergers and acquisitions within the financial planning or financial advice sector. So change management can happen at any time in the business cycle, but where we usually play with it is where there's a functional shift in the business, where there are people coming in, people going out, so there are people transactions. But where we find ourselves playing lately is in the mergers and acquisitions space. So we are deeply involved in M&A from an advice and consulting and facilitation perspective. And what typically happens is that the businesses that are involved in the transactions realize at some point that the transaction is going to affect their people. And the psychology of that is quite demanding, and it can affect the culture of the business. So a worst scenario is that down the line, post-transaction, they suddenly realize that the culture of the business is being affected and the productivity of its people is at risk, and they call us to retrospectively manage change, which doesn't work. The next scenario is that the transaction is about to happen and the business realizes that the people are going to be affected one way or another, and they need to be supported through the transaction. And we're brought in at that stage, which is not ideal for two reasons. Firstly, it's too late. And secondly, facilitating change management or managing change at this point is not on everyone's mind. It's the change itself that's on their mind, meaning the transaction. So the ideal time to talk about change management is when the change is inevitable, meaning that you're thinking about some kind of a transaction or things in the business are happening. And maybe inevitable is not the correct word to describe it, because sometimes it is before the inevitability of the change. It's when you're thinking about anything dynamic in the business, when you're thinking about doing something or responding to something. But from an mergers and acquisitions perspective, the change should be managed while you are talking about embarking on a merger or an acquisition, because people is a big part of that, and people need to be supported from the beginning throughout the transaction and post-transaction.